Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to another week with us here at Khalsa Club in Derby. Again, we're still in lockdown, so therefore we are not able to film at the Gurdwara. So we're all filming in our homes all around the country. Before we start, some sad news unfortunately to share with the Sangat, and that is that we've lost some really beautiful Gurmukh souls this week due to coronavirus. Some of you may have heard in the news, Dr. Manjeet Singh Riyat, who was A&E consultant here at Derby Royal Hospital, very well respected by his colleagues, and amazing soul from what I've heard from people that knew him. Also, we've lost Bhai Satnam Singh, who from Southall, who was well known in that area. I knew him personally because as a young child I used to go on coaches to various Renspys, and he used to be the coach driver, tirelessly with that. Bhai Amrik Singh, Glasgow, well known up north due to his charity work, his seva that he's done, famous because he's so old, but he used to run a lot of marathons and things like that for raise money for charity, along with Bhai Fauja Singh. And then finally Bibi Darshan Kaur from Slough, well-known sevadar down there. She used to do tireless seva in the Langar Hall, looking after the Sangat. Amazing souls we've lost this week, but we're not going to get down about it. Así de बारे bala así upset नहीं होना हैगा. Main चीज़ असí ना तो कुछ सीखना है. What have we learned from these great Gurmukhs? That they all did great seva, and we should learn from that. And they're not only looked after themselves, but they looked after all of those around them, and that's a wonderful legacy to leave behind. Okay, let's move on to this week's show. First off, we have Prab and Taranveer Singh, who are going to be starting us off with some Kirtan. And then we have a couple of families from up north, Jagjit Singh and Gurdeep Singh's families, who are doing Kirtan for us as well. And then finally, we're going to finish off with by Joginder Singh Lester, who's going to be doing some katha, sharing some stories about Bhai Ranveer Singh, and also his interesting meetings with Gyani Kaur Singh as well. So without much ado, we're going to carry on now. And before we go, I'd just like to say, please stay safe and please stay in Chardi Kala. Let's get as much seva as we can during this difficult time. Take care. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਪਲਕੇ ਉੱਠ ਪਰੋ ਮੇਰੇ
ਗੁਰੂ ਪਿਆਰੀ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਇਹ ਰਿਕਾਰਡਿੰਗ ਦਾਸ ਜੋਗਿੰਦਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਲੈਸਟਰ ਤੋਂ ਸੰਗਤ ਸੇਵਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ, ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇਹ ਕਰੋਨਾ ਵਾਇਰਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਇਕੱਠੀਆਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੀਆਂ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਲਾਹੇ ਲਈ ਕੁਛ ਗੁਰਮੁਖਾਂ ਦੇ ਜੀਵਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੁਛ ਹਿੱਸੇ ਦਾਸ ਆਪ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਂਝੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ ਮਨ ਨੂੰ ਜੋ ਹਾਲਾਤ ਵਾਪਰ ਚੁੱਕੀ ਹੈ ਬਿਮਾਰੀ ਕਰਕੇ, ਵਾਇਰਸ ਕਰਕੇ, ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਬਹੁਤਾ ਟਿਕਾ ਮਿਲੇ, ਥੋੜ੍ਹੀ ਮੋੜੀ ਸ਼ਕਤੀ ਮਿਲੇ। ਦਾਸ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਸਾਂਝੀ ਕਰਨੀ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਨਾਲ ਇੱਕ ਮਹਾਨ ਗੁਰਸਿੱਖ ਦੇ ਜੀਵਨ ਦਾ ਕੁਛ ਹਿੱਸਾ, ਜਿਸ ਦੇ ਜੀਵਨ ਨੇ ਹਜ਼ਾਰਾਂ ਹੀ ਪ੍ਰਾਣੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਿਆਂਦਾ, ਸਿੱਖੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਟਿਕਾਇਆ ਅਤੇ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਦ੍ਰਿੜ ਕੀਤਾ। ਦਾਸ ਤੋਂ ਭਾਵ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਮਹਾਨ ਵਿਅਕਤੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਘਰੋਂ ਵਰਸਾਏ ਹੋਏ ਗੁਰੂ ਪਿਆਰੇ ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਭਾਈ ਰਣਧੀਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਕੁਰਬਾਨੀ ਸਦਕਾ, ਸੇਵਾ ਸਦਕਾ ਅਖੰਡ ਜਥਾ ਵਜੂਦ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਇਆ ਅਤੇ ਜੋ ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਰਾਹੀਂ, ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਸੰਚਾਰ ਰਾਹੀਂ, ਪ੍ਰਚਾਰ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਹੁਣ ਵੀ। ਜਿਸ ਜਥੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਸਿੰਘਾਂ ਨੇ 1978 ਵਿੱਚ ਸ਼ਹੀਦੀਆਂ ਪਾਈਆਂ ਅਤੇ ਬਾਅਦ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਬੇਅੰਤ ਸਿੰਘਾਂ ਨੇ ਸ਼ਹੀਦੀਆਂ ਪਾਈਆਂ ਪੰਥ ਦੀ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੀ ਕਲਾ ਲਈ। ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਜੀਵਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਘਟਨਾਵਾਂ ਆਉਂਦੀਆਂ ਹਨ, ਪਰ ਅੱਜ ਦਾਸ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਨਾਲ ਜੋ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਵਾਪਰਿਆ, ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹ ਉਮਰ ਕੈਦ ਦੀ ਜੇਲ੍ਹ 'ਚੋਂ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੋਏ, ਭਾਵ ਜੇਲ੍ਹ 'ਚੋਂ ਰਿਲੀਜ਼ ਹੋਏ, when they came out of prison. I'm going to talk about Bhai Sahib Ranveer Singh, and I'm going to quote from his book, Autobiography of Bhai Sahib Ranveer Singh, in English. There's a Punjabi version called Jail Chittiyan. If you want the Punjabi version, you can download it and read it there. I'm going to especially share this with the English-speaking audience, those that understand English more than Punjabi. So this period is when Bhai Sahib has been told that he's going to be released from prison after 16 years of life imprisonment. The superintendent and the jailer informed me that it was not mere transfer order, but a step to release me soon. I was assured that I would be released as soon as I reached Punjab. They also informed me that they would be sending 1 or 2 sepoys or soldiers or policemen with me, and I would travel without being handcuffed. I requested them to send Bhai Kartar Singh to me so that before I left we could stay together. Now Bhai Kartar Singh was staying with Bhai Sahib in Nagpur jail, the last jail that Bhai Sahib was in before being released or moved to Lahore jail, where he was released completely. Nagpur was the prison where he endured many tortures, and he fasted for 40 days and suffered immensely in that prison. Bhai Kartar was his companion. Bhai Kartar Singh is the person that Bhai Sahib enlightened on Amrit Ki Hai. So you can read about that in the booklet Amrit Ki Hai, what is Amrit or baptism. So you can get that from that. This is the same Bhai Kartar Singh that Bhai Sahib requested to meet before he was released. The superintendent promised, but the jailer did not agree. However, he said, if you were not to leave, we would have certainly brought you together. The jailer feared that Bhai Kartar Singh might inform me of the tortures inflicted on him secretly, and the matter may go out to the public when I was released. But the superintendent took courage to permit us to be together at least for a day or two. So we were allowed to meet for a day. Living in the same prison, we met there for the first time after 3 years or so. We embraced each other, told each other what we had experienced and how we had suffered. Many secret feelings and thoughts were exchanged. After meeting for the whole day, we were again separated at night. All the books that were confiscated were returned. All the things that were taken from my personal possession on the day I was arrested were returned. These things included my clothes, a rosary, a kirpan, a chakkar, iron bangles, A very precious kirpan which I generally wore with strap was not returned. God alone knows where it was lost. They searched for it but could not get it. They were, however, prepared to pay for it when they lost all hope of finding it. I told them that the kirpan was priceless. It was not possible for them to pay the price. If I had demanded any amount, they would have paid it. But I did not feel like taking any money for the kirpan, which for me was a religious symbol. What could I get from some money? From Nagpur to Lahore. Within a matter of minutes, we were ready to leave for Lahore. We did not get time even to send a message about our departure to friends outside. Now remember, it's being sent to Lahore because at that time India was all one. There was no Pakistan. So India was as a whole. This is in 1931, if I remember rightly. They had even made elaborate arrangements for special rejoicing and jubilations, but unfortunately they could not even get the bare information of sudden departure. I was taken in a car to the railway station. On the way, I was eagerly looking for someone who could carry a message to the Punjabi Lions, but I could not see a single Sikh on the road who could possibly do it. Even if I could find a Congressite friend nearby, he would have at once delivered the message. It was perhaps the will of God that I should leave the place in utter secrecy. People might have been tempted to follow me in a procession and made some flattering demonstrations which might have fired my vanity. Now note here, Paisab, even though spiritually very highly uplifted, is still fearful of inner ego being fired, for my vanity, and that is a danger for all of us. Even though we might have many qualities, our inner ego can easily be fired up by praise, rightly or wrongly. Even the right praise can fire up your inner ego. So even Paisa was thinking about that, worried about that. I was, however, anxious to have a glimpse of those affectionate souls who had bestowed so much love on me. A meeting with any one of the friends would have given me great consolation. Paisa wanted to meet these great Sikhs who were working on the railway lines in Nagpur, because they had helped Paisa immensely through his tortures and through his needs. So he wanted to sort of at least thank them for it, but it was not meant to be. On reaching the railway station, I was given a berth in the third-class compartment by the police guards accompanying me. I was still anxiously looking out for someone to carry my parting message to friends living in the Punjabi lines. I saw 3 Sikh railway policemen coming towards my compartment. They were on duty and walked this way and that way on the platform, not knowing that someone was eagerly waiting for them to come nearer so that he may unburden his overwhelming feelings. When they came near my compartment, I greeted them with folded hands, saying, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Of God is the Khalsa, victory unto the Lord. They returned the greetings respectfully and warmly grasped my hands as if they knew me from a long time, although their faces were unknown. The goodwill their hearts radiated created an unusual intimacy. Seeing some policemen with me, they guessed somehow that I was the unfortunate prisoner whose sufferings had caused a sensation throughout the country and prayers had been offered everywhere. Can we be of any service, Bhai Sahib? They asked. I requested them to somehow inform my friends in the Punjabi lines about my departure. One of them immediately ran off to the Punjabi lines, while the other 2 started feeding me as best they could. They brought ice, fruit, and other eatables, for which I thanked them and accepted what little I could eat. They felt extremely happy and wished they had known about my arrival on the station earlier. Punjabi lines were far off when, after 15 minutes, the train engine gave the whistle. No one had arrived, even up to the last moment. I was hoping that someone might come. At last I left the message with the railway policeman in the words of 10th Master Guru Gobind Singh. Go tell the beloved friends the condition of this journeying disciple Without the rich coverings are in an endless agony. To live in the comforts of our households is like living with snakes. Our pitchers have become like pikes on which men are impaled. The cup we drink from has an edge like a dagger. Beloved, thy turning away from us is like what a beast endures from the slaughter. ਮਿੱਤਰ ਪਿਆਰੇ ਨੂੰ ਹਾਲ ਮਰੀਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਤੁਧ में रोग ਜਾਈਆਂ ਦਾ ਓਡਰ ਨਾਗਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਸੂਰ ਸਾਇ ਖੰਜਰ ਪਿਆਲਾ ਬਿੰਗ ਸਾਈਂ ਦਾ ਸਿਆਣਾ ਯਾਰ ਦਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸੱਤਰ ਚੰਗਾ ਪੱਟ ਕੇ ਨਦ ਰਹਿਣਾ is the shabad that Pai Sahib recited. The beloved mattress of straw would bless us. Without him in rich houses we are burnt alive. Guru Gobind Singh. Like a stream separate from the river, I was moving away from devoted friends, hoping that by the grace of God I would meet them again in spiritual communion at least. The train steamed off and the next stoppage was at Tarsi station. Chance meeting with Akali Kaur Singh. There was a long stoppage at Tarsi station. I got down from my compartment and was strolling on the platform when an unknown person offered me a large watermelon. I had never tasted such a delicious watermelon before. This sweet offering of love was more than sufficient to appease my hunger. All of a sudden I saw a very handsome divine man with a glowing radiant face. He had a lovely white beard and was dressed like a medieval Akali saint. Without recognizing and without formal greetings, we embraced each other. As we met in this warm, affectionate embrace, we were happy beyond expression. Two Gursikhs meeting, the joy of that meeting after so many years of not hardly seeing any Gursikh can only be experienced by those that go through that period. As I looked at the grand personality, trying to recognize him, he asked me, "Have you not recognized me, Pai Sahib Ji? Are you not Akali Kaur Singh?" I asked. We had met after 25 years, and he was really happy I recognized him. I met him in his early youth when he was just getting a beard. He was then very handsome and had a deep spiritual glow of his love-lorn face. He had then just been baptized into the Khalsa holy order, and the radiance of his soul wedded to the highest religious ideals could be seen from his inspired youthful face. He had aged a little, yet on his glowing face and white beard there was a radiance which is hard to describe. Now about 16 years of imprisonment, I had met a saintly Sikh from the free world for the first time. Akali Kaur Singh and Pai Sahib became very dear friends for the rest of their lives. They had very close friendships. Pai Sahib used to go to Kashmir where Akali Kaur Singh did seva, and he used to do prachar there. They had a slight disagreement at the part of their friendship journey, and that disagreement was on meat. Akali Kaur Singh was in favor, Pai Sahib was against it, and they had a long discussion. That discussion also appears in one of Pai Sahib's books called Chatka Mas Prathai Tap Gurmat Nirna. Now, from that discussion, you can get the impression that Pai Sahib was very disappointed and very angry with Akali Kaur Singh. But I think that would be the wrong impression. The love that Pai Sahib had for Akali Kaur Singh was much deeper than that discussion. And it's sad that sometimes we don't look deeper into these personalities and just take on face value what we read. You can see here, after meeting after 25 years, Akali Kaur Singh was an Nihang Singh background, but he was a sort of roaming army, one-man person. Very, very devoted, highly spiritual, and did a lot of prachar. Akali Kaur Singh's one of his biggest contributions, which Pai Sahib benefited from, was that he wrote a book called Shabad Ratan Prakash, I think it's called, and that is an index of every line of Guru Granth Sahib where they appear, and is in index order. So you can find, if you know the word, you can find what angus on, what pages on Guru Granth Sahib, because that's an index he created. And Pai Sahib, in one of his books, he thanks Akali Kaur Singh for that seva, because without that seva, Pai Sahib, I would not have written all my books. I used that to find the shabds. And when Akali Kaur Singh left this world in a very spiritual way, Pai Sahib writes an article. It doesn't appear in Pai Sahib's books, and it's very rare to even get that. I was fortunate to buy a book on Akali Kaur Singh, and the writer there prints Pai Sahib's letter or lekh that Pai Sahib wrote when Akali Kaur Singh passed away. And Pai Sahib praises Akali Kaur Singh immensely as a true Gurmukh in that article. And you can see from that previously, many years before, discussion they had on meat became irrelevant in Pai Sahib's eyes. He loved Akali Kaur Singh for his qualities. And this is why I'm reading this article to the audience, that we need to start sharing qualities of each other rather than looking for differences, because differences divide us, qualities unite us. You're always going to get differences, even within one organization, even in one family. So we need to, more than ever, share the qualities and try to adopt qualities that we see in others, and try to shun faults that we see in others in ourselves, rather than highlight their faults all the time. Back to the story. Akali Kaur Singh was travelling in an inter-class compartment. He took me and my little luggage to his compartment and gave me a comfortable seat there. Knowing my abstemious habits of Viveka, ideal discrimination in food, he looked after my comforts and requirements. He took out some solace, ground barley from his bag and mixed them with cold water. This humble fare removed all my hunger and thirst. Then we talked for many hours. He gave me the latest news of the heroic fight of the Sikhs for their rights. We discussed innumerable subjects. Akali Kaur Singh travelled with me up to Delhi. There were some more Sikhs in the compartment who fulfilled an unasked desire of informing my friends and relatives about my departure from Nagpur to Lahore. From Delhi, Akali Kaur Singh sent some more telegrams to my family, Ganinar Singh and other friends. I can never forget his act of kindness and love of the great soul. Can you see here Pai Sahib praising Akali Kaur Singh? Now, what you don't get is much on Akali Kaur Singh himself. I was very fortunate to meet a person many years ago called Gyani Udham Singh, who wrote a book on Kesh, very brilliant book, and on the True Guru as well, and on many other books. He used to do prachar all over the world. He came to the UK, I think it was in the late 70s or early 80s, and I was fortunate to do his Sangat. And while doing his Sangat, I asked him about great Gursikhs, and he told me about Akali Kaur Singh. He said that once Akali Kaur Singh came to Gurdwara Bangla Sahib in Delhi, and when he looked at the stage, there was a special seating on the stage made, the normal seating, like gaddi on the stage, but nobody was sitting on it. So Akali Kaur Singh got up and took the gaddi off the stage and made the stage just flat. And he put it on the floor somewhere. After a while, a few sevadars came and looked at the stage and saw that gaddi had removed. They put the gaddi back on the stage. Akali Kaur Singh went up again and removed that gaddi. There was a argument between these so-called sevadars and Akali ji. In this argument, one of the sevadars actually slapped Akali Kaur Singh in anger. By this time, their Baba that was going to sit on that gaddi had arrived in the Diwan hall, and he saw this argument going on, and he intervened, said, no, we don't need the gaddi, even though he probably used the gaddi normally, but he saw that this was getting out of hand, said, no, stop it. He told his sevadars off, and he did his parchar without the gaddi. Akali Kaur was adamant that there should be no special seating for anyone in the presence of Guru Granth Sahib Maharaj. Now what happened was that the person who slapped Akali Kaur Singh, after the Diwan, after some time, he started having pains in his body. He became very, very ill. And he's asked, Babaji couldn't do anything to relieve his pain, his suffering. They asked around, and somebody said, well, it's probably because you slapped that saintly person called Kali Kaur Singh. And so they went to Akaliji, where he was staying, and they tried to apologize to Kali Kaur Singh. And Akaliji said, unfortunately, I can't do anything about this, because what I did was in respect of my Guru. What you did was in respect of your Baba. Now, whatever Guru has done has nothing to do with me. Now it's up to your Baba and Guruji to resolve this issue. So they came back, and unfortunately that person actually passed away. He never survived. That's how spiritually high Akali Kaur Singh was. Another story told me about Akali Kaur Singh was that Akali Kaur Singh was basically fearless. He did not fear anybody. He did immense seva for families who came when India was partitioned, and who suffered greatly in the journey from present Pakistan to India, and lost lives and everything. And he helped them in Kashmir. He made a place where orphans could be educated and looked after. So he did immense seva at the risk of his health as well, and that's why his health deteriorated in the end. But he made great sacrifices to look after these families. A very, very knowledgeable character. He was instrumental in the preparation of the Sikh Ret Maryada, the Panthik Pravan Sikh Ret Maryada that we read now. He was in the committee meetings, helping to formulate it or advising. So a great personality that we very rarely hear about. So back to the story. At Delhi, I parted with Akali Kaur Singh. Delhi reminded me of the days of Gurdwara movements, which started with the Rakabganj episode. Just then another unfortunate thing had happened at Gurdwara Sisganj, which pained me very much. This was police firing at Gurdwara Sisganj on May 6, 1630 AD. The telegrams given to my village home did not reach my people in time, but Gyani Nar Singh received the information before my arrival. It was getting dark when the train reached Amritsar, and on the platform stood Gyani Nar Singh and Gyani Harbhajan Singh carrying flowers and fruits. Now, Gyani Nar Singh is the great soul who gave us Pai Sahib's writings. He actually printed the books that Pai Sahib wrote. He did immense seva of the Panth in giving the Sangta what Pai Sahib wrote. Sometimes we don't appreciate these great souls and their sacrifices. And you probably would come across somewhere that the book on Mass wasn't printed by Gyani Nar Singh. The manuscript was lost somehow, and somewhere you might read this bit that Gyani Narsingh wasn't totally against meat, but we need to be careful. We need to really look at the qualities of that person. He printed those books when nobody else would lift a finger on printing his books. Painstaking labor in printing them, spreading them, giving to Sangata. And he spent most of his life in the seva of Bhai Sahib. So for little disagreements, little things, we sometimes we forget the total contribution of that person. He was a friend of Bhai Sahib for most of his life. I had been separated from them since a long time. There was a very large crowd of many unknown admirers and well-wishers. As soon as I stepped out of the train, people rushed towards me with overflowing love and affection. One after the other, they came forward to greet me and embraced each one of them warmly. As there was little time at our disposal, such meetings with individuals had to be cut short. Gyani Narsingh then gave a brief introduction of all the people who were present. Some important news was also given to me. Gyani ji had much to say, so he accompanied me to Lahore. During an hour's journey to Lahore, we talked and discussed many things, but the hour passed like a minute. We reached Lahore station. Gyani ji went to Sardar Bahadur Mehtab Singh's residence, while I was taken to my usual abode, the prison. I was first taken to police station near the railway station, but they refused to accept me. Then I was taken to the Anarkali police station. Everyone was asleep. It was also almost midnight. The officer in charge of the police lockup came out feeling disturbed and upset and said to the policeman accompanying me, "Why could you not find a place for him in the police lockup near the railway station?" The Havaldar in charge of me said, "They refused to accept him or take any responsibility for him because he is a B-class prisoner. He can be lodged only in this place, so you better give him a place here without any further question. He must be given rest for the night here, and in the morning he must be taken to the central jail." The officer in charge got up hesitatingly and opened a special room for me. When I entered the room, I saw an English internee lying dead drunk. The room was stinking with the foul smell of wine, and the whole atmosphere was intolerable. I flatly refused to get into the room. "I will not stand the night in this room," I said, "even if you give me a reward of 100 rupees to do so." The dozing officer took up his bunch of keys and opened another room. It was quite cool and clean. It was a hot season and the temperature quite high. The officer switched on the electric lamp and the electric fan. I spread my bed on a cot. There was a water tap nearby and a commode in the corner. I was left all alone to enjoy my rest in calm solitude. This was the first time that I enjoyed an electric fan. It had not been invented before I entered the prison. I enjoyed a restful sleep. The next morning I was taken to Lahore Central Jail. Inside Central Jail, Lahore. Stories of the too much about my Chud Singh's qualities, but even then, the love is immense. Sometimes we lose that when we are with Gursikhs for a longer period. We get to know their habits, we get to know their faults, and so that love diminishes. May Guruji bless us that we maintain that love all the time. I had never met anyone who was so eager to meet and bestow his affection on me. So on meeting me, his joy knew no bound. He said, "Blessed am I. Blessed is this moment of unexpected meeting with a hero and beloved friend whom I have been longing to meet." Bhai Sahib's heroics in the prison, his sufferings and his fasts of 40 days on more than one occasion had been let out in news articles, and Pant also prayed for Bhai Sahib and other prisoners who were suffering in prisons. So Pai Sahib's personality was well known outside in the Panth in general. Out of all the political prisoners, the superintendent Jared had the greatest faith in Pai Chur Singh. For the junior officers in charge of the political prisoners block respected him and served him as they would serve a master. After seeing us meet in this warm and affectionate manner, the superintendent advised Pai Chur Singh to take me with him and lodge me in his block in his company. Arm in arm, he led me to his cell. As he led me, he continued his charming talk about our past. After spending nearly 15 and a half years in various prisons all over India, we are now back in Lahore jail, after where our life sentence began. As I moved on, accompanied by Chur Singh, I came to the same block from where we were taken to a Multan jail in fetters 15 and a half years ago. The prison cells in this block were close to each other, but the prisoners had a different look. Now all the Sikh prisoners were wearing turbans. What a contrast it was to the ugly spectacle of 1915-16, when the Sikhs were deprived of turbans as soon as they came to the prison. They were given clownish caps, and with this ridiculous headdress, their faces looked horrible. Now with their lovely turbans and kach trousers, shade, they did not even look like prisoners. Formerly they seemed to have lost all their manhood and appeared to be subhuman creatures but put in a cage. Now, with the articles and uniform of Guru Gobind Singh, they appeared to be handsome and saintly souls. Within a matter of minutes, news spread throughout the prison that the first prisoner of the Gurdwara reform movement, who had undertaken a fast for 40 days and procured for all types of Sikh prisoners, political and others, the right to wear turbans and Sikh symbols, was now in their prison. In small groups they came to me and expressed unbounded gratitude for procuring them their religious rights. They warmly appreciated my determined struggle to lead a Sikh life in the face of such oppression, and fighting for right of the Sikh prisoners to wear turbans and keep their symbols. Now, remember, in those times, when Pai Sahib was starting his prison life, the treatment was very, very harsh. You were not allowed to wear your kakars. You had to wear the prison uniform. Pai Sahib had to fight for these and take many fasts to get even basic rights. And because of Pai Sahib's sacrifices, the government was forced to change their rules and let Sikh prisoners wear their symbols. So it was a massive sacrifice on Pai Sahib's part and other great good Sikhs who also struggled in prison. I was taken to a cell and seated there. When some of my old companions came to know about my arrival, they all came rushing to meet me. From one prison cell came Pai Pakar Singh of Tudke. From another appeared Pai Harnam Singh of Kala Sangia. From one corner came Brother Kirpa Singh. All smiles, all old friends came there from one side or the other. Everyone met me with a warm embrace. In joy and exultation, the long separated friends met me and talked about the saga of separation and suffering in prisons. For the past many years, Brother Kirpa Singh and Brother Pakar Singh undertook the duty of preparing my food with great eagerness and devotion. Everyone was now getting the dark blue turbans. The whole staff and the internee of the prison were greatly impressed by the character and work of my old companions. Pai Chur Singh was given the duty of distributing milk to the sick and ailing prisoners. He would personally go to every prisoner and give him his own milk. The prisoners derived a peculiar satisfaction in taking milk from his hands. Pai Basawa Singh of Germany was in charge of the political prisoners' kitchen, langar. Pai Harnam Singh, Pai Kirpa Singh used to bring rations and other things from the store. The prison officers had great confidence in the integrity of these men. Ever since the responsibilities of the prison's food was given to these patriots, The prisoners enjoyed heavenly life in those days of darkness and delusion. They would take their food only when everyone had been served to his satisfaction. But Chur Singh was such a contented nature that he distributed the whole of the milk to the needy, even distributed his own milk, specially fixed by the jail superintendent for him, to the sick and needy, and did not care for his own weak health. Like ideal and true Sikhs, he practiced charity and left behind him the sweet memories of his great virtues, which would ever be blessed and recorded in the presence of God. Again, Pai Sahib is being generous and praising these great good Sikhs and truly praising them for their qualities. We in good times tend to forget that. At this present, with the virus, I'm sure a lot of us are worried what will happen to us or our loved ones. But remember, in Vaheguru's bigger play, death is part of life. It comes to all of us. One day it will. We don't know what that time is. We don't know when, what time, what day. But we know for certain that death is a certainty that we all will have to face. So all I can say is that we need to take all the precautions that we've been told to take, distancing, staying away, and washing your hands and everything. And I would say definitely wear something to cover your face, a mask or even a cloth mask to protect your health. We don't have to get too concerned or too worried, as long as we take the precautions. And if something happens to our lives, we need to be strong and stay in Chardi Kala and ask for Guruji's blessings so that we can remain in Chardi Kala. And remember, if you are in great spirits, then the chances of cure are much, much higher than if you are a very, very weak mind and body. So on that note, I wish all of you a healthy life, Chardi Kala life, and hope you can all benefit from Guru's word, Gurbani. Recite it as much as you can, memorize it, sing it, do Naam Simran as much as you can. Whatever Bani you love reciting, keep reciting. Dukpani Shabad are very, very powerful in lifting our mind and our sort of stature in a mind state. So please do that, or Sri Sukhmani Sahib Part, or Sri Japji Sahib Part, or any Bani that you love reciting. Remain in Chardi Kala, take all the precautions, and read as much as you can on Gurbani meanings and lives of great good Sikhs. On this note, I share my Fateh. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.